Hi, Happy New Year, or just New Year. But I do hope you're doing well and keeping safe and healthy in these times. Recently, I've been asked, how have I been kind of just remaining as comfortable as possible during all this, during a lockdown or pandemic. And to that, I say there have been products that have helped me. There's also been habits that have helped me kind of just remain grounded, keep it routine, and just keep myself in check. There is quite a bit going on in the world, and it's very overwhelming, and I've found that obviously not getting out as much, not seeing my friends, not being able to make content in the same way that I did when I could get someone behind the camera, or to check the visual reference of the viewfinder while, I'm obviously in frame, so I can't necessarily do that. There's been drawbacks for sure in this last year, and a lot of that's going to obviously roll over to 2021. So I think for myself, there have been some things and some products that I've used that have personally just, again, helped ease all this and help keep myself, again, accountable. So the first product I would like to share with you is actually called the Vidami, and this is actually a really neat piece of hardware. It simply just connects to your computer. It's a controller to control YouTube videos. It's from a small family company, and I think what they're trying to do is really neat. For me, I've been getting back into learning guitar during all this stay at home, and learning guitar, learning that new skill has been something that's been very routine for me. It's been very, honestly, just in a way, therapeutic. This thing is really the reason why I've been learning. There's so many free resources on YouTube, so many free videos to watch and check out, and Vidami lets you control in a way that is accessible, because oftentimes when you're trying to learn a skill like guitar or cooking, right, your hands are tied, your hands are in use with another task. And with the Vidami, you're able to simply just plug this into your computer, and you're able to just loop those videos. You can loop a certain second or time frame. You can go back, you can go forward, you can speed it up or slow it down. So again, the Vidami link is in the description, and I highly just recommend it. I'd say the one real maybe drawback to this device is it is just kind of limited to a computer desktop setup, or not necessarily desktop, but laptop as well. It doesn't quite work on tablets or your phone at the moment, so maybe in the future a new release will do that. So I'll be honest, this next one is kind of unusual, but it's really helped me to appreciate movies, and not only movies but my games, since I got my hands, or I should say my shoulder on it. It's a wearable speaker from Sony, and it's called WS1. This is the Sony WS1. It's a Sony wearable speaker. And you might be thinking, why would you want a speaker when you could wear headphones? And I think the use case for this really is the bass and the vibration that you feel from it when you're watching movies, when you're watching films in your home theater. Not even in a home theater, that's the other thing. You don't need to have that sound setup, because this is going to give you that experience. But if you're watching films and whatnot, this is going to really try to emulate and simulate that theater feeling, right? It's a really unique product because it connects with an analog receiver. So you plug this analog receiver into your television. From there, you can basically use it. Or you can also use a micro USB to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack adapter here on the side, and plug it into any other device that just accepts a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. So maybe not the most ideal for your smartphone, if your smartphone doesn't have a headphone jack anymore. Of course, any kind of adapter can still work and pass through that audio, but it really does create a much more immersive sound experience when you are watching films. But I also tried this with the PlayStation 5, and playing something like Fortnite or Spider-Man really helped me immerse me into those single player experiences even more. So again, I've talked a lot about how I play games like Fortnite in the past because I am legally blind, so I'm very reliant on my hearing, and how something like this can be beneficial if, well, you use sounds for playing your games. Alright, so I'm just gonna hop into a solo. And when I say Fortnite, I'm talking about solos, not doing cooperative play with people in voice chat, because I'm sure they don't want to hear your game echoed, but if you're, again, just listening to it, it's great for that. Again, it's a very unique product, but I think it really does serve a case in a market and has a lot of untapped potential, especially as we see theaters potentially not bounce back from everything that's been going on. This can really help give you that immersive experience with those new theatrical films coming directly to streaming. Please note with this, it doesn't have Bluetooth. That's the one thing I don't ask me why. I wish it did have Bluetooth audio, but again, it's a wireless receiver that plugs in via analog and or that 3.5mm headphone jack wire. But other than that, very good use cases for a TV or PlayStation. One of my jobs outside of YouTube is I do speaking, and oftentimes a lot of my speaking gigs come in from people who've found my YouTube videos and want me to come talk at their organization or event, and those haven't necessarily stopped because of everything going on, but a lot of what I've been doing is now doing consulting or speaking through virtual webcasts or group calls. You want to also make sure you have a good quality webcam, and honestly, a lot of webcams have been on back order and have not been able to keep up with demand, as many more people are trying to get decent looking webcams. But even then, let's be honest, the cameras that are going up in price today are technology from 2012 or 2009. The cameras don't look good at all. Even if it's like 720p or 1080p HD, they don't look good. They're webcams. But our smartphones have incredible cameras for these really tiny sensors that really are pretty affordable for these especially cheaper phones. So why they're not sourcing those types of cameras for webcams, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. Someone should go off and do that. But in the meantime, you could also just use your existing smartphone as a camera with epocam. And this is an application on the iPhone that works with drivers on both Windows and on Mac. Now, it only works for specific apps, just the way it's a virtual webcam. So if apps support a virtual webcam, for instance, Zoom, WebEx, even OBS. So if you're streaming and you want a better looking webcam, maybe your phone is that webcam. Currently, I have an iPhone 12 just mounted on my desk as a webcam. It's really weird when sometimes I have to tell people, give me 1 second, I'm just gonna pinch to zoom in on my webcam. But of course, it's software, it's running through, so you know, it may not be always the most reliable because it's not hardware. I've had one crash on it, but that's about it. I've been using it quite a bit, and for the most part, I've had it running for 3 hours and it runs just fine. It's great. So epocam, it's from Elgato, or Elgato now makes it, so check it out. And epocam is under $10 for the Pro version, which I recommend if you're gonna use it and stick with it. There is a light version though to make sure that it works for you. It does work on Wi-Fi, but I do recommend you just use a Lightning to USB cable to just have that more consistent and reliable source instead of using your Wi-Fi as a video relay. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say this next one really created a better habit, but it has helped my mental health. It's helped me remain actively socializing with friends, and that's just gaming. It could be anything from a PS4 to the hard-to-find PS5 or an Xbox One or the hard-to-find Xbox Series X or S, which I have in my case, or Nintendo Switch, which I've also gone up in price because of the demand. But for me, I've been socializing with friends by just casually playing games like Clubhouse 51 Worldwide Classics, Fortnite, Fall Guys, Mario Kart, even Pokemon Sword and Shield. And these are just, again, games I'm playing with friends just to have conversations, catch up, and it's hard to be without people for so long, but gaming has actually really helped, and I've talked about it before, but I kind of fell out of gaming personally for quite a few years during this last generation with the PS4 and Xbox One, and I didn't really get back into it until like the Switch a little bit, but mainly working on a game called The Last of Us Part 2, which was a lot of fun to be a part of, and seeing the direction that games are becoming more accessible, and this mindset of everyone should be able to play, and yeah, that's just been something that's really pulled me back, and that's why I'm like streaming over on twitch.tv/JamesWrath twice a week, and we're having a good time over there. And that's another thing, is if I'm not gaming, I'm gonna go check in on some of my friends who are gaming, and they're broadcasting it and they're chatting, and I'll message them in the chat. Maybe they're playing a game that I'm also able to boot up and join them with. So it's pretty cool. That whole community has been interesting to watch from afar, and now just slowly this past year kind of sneak my way into and get to know some new and really cool people through gaming. So the last thing I really do want to recommend is actually my Apple Watch. My Apple Watch, though I've been with it for many years, and actually I had one since the first Apple Watch launch, it's really helped me remain accountable as I'm working from home, as I'm not going out of my office as much, especially in the wintertime, as I'm in a state that is getting hit with snow every so often. It's getting rainy, it's getting cold. This has been really great at helping to keep me accountable. Apple has Fitness Plus, which is a brand new service that launched, and Fitness Plus, it's got all these curated workout videos and displays your progress on the screen, whether it's on your phone or on your Apple TV. So that's one thing I've really enjoyed, just making sure I'm closing my rings, I'm hitting my fitness, my move goals each day. And with that, I also bought an elliptical machine because for me, being legally blind and seeing vertigo at all times, my eyes just shake and everything shakes with it. Treadmills are not an ideal. I get too nauseous, get too dizzy too fast on something like a treadmill. On elliptical, I feel more secure, comfortable, and so I use that personally. It works, it's more accessible to make better for me. It doesn't have to be an Apple Watch, of course. Like, just get something that can help keep you accountable for your move goals and your fitness goals, whether again it's a fitness band or it's just an app that is reminding you to move, to keep yourself active in some degree that is manageable for you. So anyway, that's what I've been doing the past several months in this new world that hopefully is temporary, but helping me also remain accountable for myself and form some better habits and keep that time where I can keep entertained and socialize in new mediums and new ways. I really don't want to admit it, but the last movie I saw in theaters was Sonic the Hedgehog. I kind of hope it's not the last movie I see in theaters, but man, that'd be a shame. I like to tell people it was Knives Out, but no, I saw Sonic. I was just curious. Let me know in the comments, what have you done personally to keep yourself accountable or keep some good habits going? I'm curious, maybe there's a recommendation you have that I should know about. Could be food, fitness, entertainment related. I don't know. Who knows? Don't suggest a body pillow. I had someone suggest that to me. I don't need that suggestion. I hope you could see something different today. I will hear you next time. Bye.